So one of the most notable vehicles used in any Covenant ground invasion were their landing craft. And none had quite as much of an impact as the iconic Phantom. Today we'll take a look at the Phantom and how the Covenant really put it to use during the Human-Covenant War. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So the Covenant Type 52 transport, also known as the Phantom, was a mainstay of Covenant invasion forces. It would play a crucial role in moving troops and material to and from the battlefield. The Type 52 Phantom were manufactured in assembly forges, which generally could be located on board large Covenant capital ships as well as on High Charity. The Type 52 was only 32 meters long, but was relatively well armed. With a chin-mounted heavy plasma cannon, it could deal devastating damage to ground forces. And on top of that, it had two Type 52 plasma cannons on either side of the vehicle. This allowed some of the passengers within the crew compartment to play a role in clearing out the landing zone for them to disembark. In fact, this entire vehicle was pretty well designed for clearing out an area to land troops. As to troops, it could carry up to 30 Covenant infantry. This could range anywhere from elites to brutes to grunts. And infantry wasn't the only thing it was capable of carrying into battle. It could notably also carry two Type 32 Ghosts, or a single Type 25 Wraith. This allowed it to carry not only infantry, but heavy armor into battle. This made its capabilities roughly equivalent to that of the UNSC Pelican. In fact, I would almost wager that the Type 52 was developed in response to the Pelican. Because unlike the Pelican, which predates the Human-Covenant War, the Type 52 really only came into service within the last few years of the war, quickly replacing the older Type 25 Spirit, which, by the way, was significantly less armed and could carry far fewer troops. The first place we see these in action in the games is during Halo 2, where they take the role of Covenant Dropship pretty much in its entirety from the Spirit. They would become the primary Covenant landing vehicle that we see throughout Halo 3, ODST, and Reach. They would be used extensively during the invasion of Earth, the conflict in High Charity during the Great Schism, and the Battle of Installation 00, basically being present on all major battlefields at the very end of the war. Now, we do know that there were some interesting variants of the Phantom developed, but most notably is the Gunboat Phantom. It's used by Covenant forces when they attempt to assault Anchor 9, a UNSC space station in orbit of Reach. These modified Phantoms close up the interior space to allow them to operate effectively in a vacuum, then add two pairs of heavy plasma cannons on either side of the body of the vehicle, and a single turret on the aft, giving it basically a full 360-degree arc of fire, and allowing it to defend itself against basically any attack. These became particularly effective against small UNSC fighters, which explains why they were deployed against Anchor 9, which was at the time entirely defended by a squadron of Sabres. Interestingly, there is a class of Phantom that was used relatively rarely before the introduction of the Type 52. And that type is called the Type 44, which we don't actually see at all in the main Halo trilogy, but they do appear to be used fairly extensively by post-war factions. And the Type 44 is seen fairly prominently in Halo 4. One other interesting tool on board the Phantom was its gravlift. Unlike the UNSC Pelican, the Phantom could deploy and recover troops without actually landing. Basically, it could hover just off the ground and use its gravlift to lift troops and material into its cargo bay. This made it far easier to land and recover troops while they're under fire. So when you compare it directly to the UNSC counterpart, the D-77TC Pelican, the Phantom is actually a little bit underwhelming. While its weapons may have individually been stronger, there were far fewer of them, the Pelican sporting a variety of machine guns and rocket pods. But the Phantom makes up for this by having advanced technology like gravlifts on board to make it easier for it to do its primary job, which is deploying and recovering troops. Which is why I would say, unlike the Pelican, which I would almost classify as a hybrid dropship gunship, the Phantom is basically exclusively a dropship, really only being effective at landing and recovering troops. But the Phantom's extensive use at the end of the war was rather notable. As I mentioned, it would play its role in some of the most important battles of the war, and come head-to-head with its UNSC rival, the D-77TC Pelican. If you want to learn more about the vehicle that was probably the reason why the Covenant developed the Phantom, I'll leave a link up here to my video on the Pelican. And I want you to let me know down in the comments what you think was a better dropship, the DC-77 Pelican with its larger armament, or the Type 52 Phantom with its more advanced technology. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.